Today we are talking to Chloe Franken-Ututalum. She is the CEO and President of SOPHI. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, SOPHI started as an online verifications company for students looking to find discounted airfare and deals online. So we started as a company that verified their enrollment, and we did that for a couple of years. And in 2012, that's when we ventured into outsourcing as a BPO. And since then, we've been working with startups on call center support, back office support, and lead generation, as well as other support services for up-and-coming disruptive companies in the US and in Europe. In Dumaguete, we have almost 300 employees, and in our office in Cebu, which just opened last year, we have close to 100 agents. Outsourcing is having someone do the work for you so that you can focus on the more important things in your business. I think when outsourcing started, it was really more on the process of doing business, more of the data processing and customer service. However, I think now there's a real shift into doing more complex tasks for companies. So for a startup company that's just starting out, we can do research, we can do the back-end support, and for those that are in more of the growth stage, we can do more of maybe marketing, some of the processes that you can outsource could translate into customer relations, business development. So outsourcing is really a big field, and it depends on what stage you're in. But there's always a company for every startup in different stages. So it's really a vast industry that you can start small and then you can grow into something that really supports your business and your growth. Well, of course, the stigma with outsourcing is the fact that you're in a different continent altogether, and it takes a lot of trust. So I think if you're concerned about outsourcing, the key thing is you find a company that you can trust. And it helps if that company has worked with other people that you know or has a good background or credibility in the industry. And that, I think, is the most important thing, because you don't see the person sometimes, and sometimes you'll never see your outsourcing vendor. So the most important thing for people who are a bit skeptical about outsourcing or a bit afraid about outsourcing is find a company that you can trust and a company that has transparency. Well, with us, since we work with startups, sometimes it's you go and start and you learn along the way. Although that is easy and it gets you up and running right away, it really helps if you take the time to really train your employees. It also depends on the complexity of the task that you're outsourcing. If it's simple data entry work, as long as you hire someone very capable, you don't really need to train someone. You know, it starts with the talent that you're recruiting. However, for more complex tasks and a little bit more of the intricacies of doing the business itself, training really plays a huge role. It takes some time, but if you make the investment of training your employees and your agents, your staff, it pays a lot, because then you minimize errors and you really get the quality that you want up to par with the team that you have. So it doesn't really feel like you're outsourcing to another company. It seems like one unit, because you will have the same training as what you also instill in your own employees. Well, with working with different companies, there's not one software or tool that we can use so that everything is uniform. Everything is a little different for each client, but most of the time it's really cloud services and cloud tools. It's the easiest. You don't have to depend on specifications of a certain computer. Everything is on the cloud. It's easy. And in terms of monitoring, I think if you have a trusted outsourcing partner, you wouldn't have to think about really monitoring your agent, because then the beauty about working with a good outsourcing vendor, they do that for you. They do the management for you. Unlike working with freelancers online, where there's a lot of micromanagement in terms of making sure that the hours are logged and the person's working on the task. Working with an outsourcing vendor, that takes the headache out of the equation. Yeah, especially for startups that are just starting and in the phase of setting up and getting funding, a lot of the work that they outsource is lead generation, which is research. So a lot of lead generation research, data entry. And as we work with other startups that are more customer service oriented and service oriented, like on-demand delivery services or e-commerce sites, most of the services that they seek from us would be customer relations, order fulfillment, and we also have clients that go to us for social media management. So there's a lot of services that we can do. It has to do with finding the right person to do it, and I think that's the core heart of SOPHI, is we find the right people to do the task for our clients. So anything from back office support to call center support to data entry to design and even web development now. So we can do a lot of services, and we also do it with multilingual support for customer service accounts. Well, normally for us, we charge per month. That is based on an hourly rate, but we're very flexible. We do offer short terms where you can have a monthly project or a project that'll last for a year or a couple of months or an as-needed basis. So we're very flexible in terms of duration of a contract, and the pricing is also very competitive. Compared to other centers, our pricing is competitive and up to par with online freelancers. So you get the redundancy of a good operations center and the security of data, as well as management for the price of something that's comparable to working with someone online. Well, there are different clients. Some clients are very hands-on, that they help us with in terms of management, looking at productivity and quality. And other times, clients just really let us do our own thing. And when you work with SOPHI, we do provide management and supervision. So performance management, coaching, including attendance management, as well as rewards. Those are all taken care of by our staff. So really, if you want a solution where you get someone and have someone manage the resource for you, you can get that with SOPHI. So you can worry about other aspects of your business while we take care of the performance management, as well as take care of any particulars that you have for your business. Well, I think the number one obvious reason for choosing the Philippines is just language proficiency. I think we're number 2 right now in terms of English literacy in Asia. And aside from the fact that we're very inclined towards Western culture, Filipinos are really just happy to work. And you'd want to have a team that's happy and hardworking and willing to go the extra mile to finish a task. So the Philippines is a great destination for outsourcing, because you have English proficient agents who are happy to work and who understand your culture. Time zones are not a problem, especially with with most BPOs, because SOPHI, for instance, works 24/7. We're open 24/7, so time zone is not really an issue. So we can work on any time zone according to the client's needs. Well, the good thing about SOPHI, if you want to start it outsourcing, we have a free trial, and it's risk-free. So if you want to get your feet wet a little bit and start outsourcing, you don't have to have any lock-in period. It's completely free. and you get 30 days to try out a service and see if it's a good fit and see if it's what you're looking for. I think if you're gonna look at outsourcing as well on a smaller scale, I think you can also start with hiring online freelancers. That's also something that's good for people who are a little bit skeptical or who are scared to get into outsourcing. Nonetheless, working with a company that can offer you a free trial is advantageous to your part, because then you get to try the service without any risks. I think when you work in outsourcing, for you to really achieve success when it comes to working with vendors is for you to treat your outsourced staff as your own. It helps that you treat them as part of your team, not an outsourced resource, because then you get the person invested in your business. And when they're invested in your business and they feel like they're part of your business, then they will work with you to ensure that your business will succeed. So I think that's the key there. And it's a give and take relationship. And if you treat your resource well, your resource will give you so much more. And it's just a symbiotic relationship of growth and a lot of development. So there, you just have to treat them as your own and you will see the rewards. One thing that people should avoid, especially when it comes to outsourcing, is having high expectations without setting them in the first place. So the key there is really setting the objectives and setting the expectations and the standards with your outsourcing provider or the freelancer that you're working with. By doing that from the start, at least your outsourcing partner already knows the expectations. And I think regular performance checks and being able to touch base and being on the same page helps as well, so that you know that you're both aligned to what you're supposed to achieve with the partnership. So that's one of the things that I think you can look at before you start outsourcing to ensure that you will get the results that you need. Of course, as much as Filipinos are well familiar with Western culture, when it comes to communication, it really helps to know the culture, because Americans are straightforward, Europeans are straightforward as well, and Filipinos really are sensitive people, and it pays a lot to be sensitive when it comes to communication. And I think it also translates with any culture or with any interaction for that matter. Being sensitive to one's own culture and being able to accept some differences and adjusting to that culture. And I think in the Philippines, having a heart when it comes to business is what gets you by, because then Filipinos are sensitive and are passionate, and they go to work and it's an extension of their personal life as well. They have their families here at work and they meet friends, so it's important for them that it's not just business as usual. So when you work with a Filipino team, put a little heart in the interaction and you'll be okay. I think one of the strongest suits of SOPHI is the fact that we started as a startup ourselves. So we know the startup culture. So if a startup comes to us and asks if they can get started, we're very flexible. So we've had clients where we signed up with them a day before, the next day we can train someone and they can be on the phone. And the key there is we hire the right people who are tech savvy and people who easily learn and who are independent and who are very resourceful in terms of learning. So we're not the typical call center where you'd need to have a class to teach the staff to, one, learn English, because we already hire people who are English proficient and who've had experience in the industry. So it's a plug and play, as you would say it. You can start with one agent, as easy as one agent, and the next day you can be on the phone. And we're very flexible in terms of your needs. So if you want an extensive training, we can also do that. If you want something quick, we can also do that. So the key there is we will hire the staff that really fits your culture and also fits your needs. and we tailor fit it to what you're looking for. Unlike other centers where they have mass hiring and it's not custom to what you're looking for, with us, we really take the time to look for the perfect fit according to your needs. In terms of flexibility, we can do project-based accounts and long-term contracts as well. We've had clients where we've worked with them for several months, and then they get back to us after a year once they find the need again. Usually this is for lead generation work. We've also had clients where they maintain a small team for the regular operations, and when they do have seasonal needs, we're able to provide support for that. So flexibility is really one of the strong suits of SOPHI as well, in terms of pricing, terms, also the work, and the type of people that we can recruit. One of the key things I think that people should look into, especially when they're looking at outsourcing, is the options that are out there. Obviously, BPOs are a big option, but the substitutes, as you would call them, would be freelancers who might be working on sites like Upwork. And in terms of skills, you wouldn't really say that there's a difference in skill, because when people work with freelancers, they've also had experience working at a call center. I think in terms of just the quality and management of a task, it's a lot better to work with a center, because one, you're ensured that the person that you're working with will clock in at the time that you've agreed and will clock out after. Also, in terms of redundancy, working with a center, you're assured that you have power redundancy and your internet speeds are also up to standard, versus someone working at home that might have unreliable internet connection, or you might have background noise if someone's on the phone. So a lot of the things that would make it more feasible for you to work with a center would be quality control, as well as just the reliable infrastructure that an outsourcing center provides that you can't get from an online freelancer or a home-based freelancer. Although the pricing with most centers versus an online freelancer, it's a lot cheaper to go with someone who's freelancing. However, with SOPHI, the prices are almost the same, that it doesn't make any sense if you would go the other way when you have almost the same competitive price, but with reliability and the infrastructure that you need to run a professional business.